All right, it is now 10:30. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can't believe it's already the last day of April. This month has flown by. So just a few housekeeping tips and reminders before we get started. Any questions, feel free to type them in the chat or the Q&A window at any time. For everything else, feel free to reach out to us offline at sales@tristaterestores.com. We are recording, and links to view the video and PDF presentation will be shared with you tomorrow morning through a Zoom recap email. For everything else, visit tristaterestores.com/VCB for our complete archive. We've been doing this since 2020, peak COVID. So we now have almost 4 years worth of material. So if there's any topics you're interested in, feel free to check it out. They're all quick bite-sized presentations, so I encourage you to do that. Starbucks gift cards. 10 lucky attendees today will receive a $5 gift card. Stay to the end to find out how to win. After the coffee break, please complete the post-event survey. Share the topics you'd like us to cover in our next one. We will be seeing you again next month on May 29th. If you like this presentation, and we sincerely hope you do, please share a review of TriState on Google. This is subject to Google's review and approval process, but we are happy to hear that you guys enjoy our educational offerings. And if you share that experience with other people, hopefully they'll join in and get something else out of it as well. Oh, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. And then stay to the end. One lucky attendee is going to win a $50 Starbucks gift card. We switched it up this month just a little bit. If you guys want Crumble back, let me know. Take the survey. I'm happy to, work out whatever prizes you guys are interested in. I do personally love Crumble, but coffee is always a good option. Who we are, for those of you new on the call, we are a family-owned, locally operated, established mitigation and restoration firm in the DC metropolitan area. We cover Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia. We specialize in mitigation, remediation, removal, cleanup, and restoration efforts of both large and small water, fire, mold, biohazard, lead, and odor-caused damages. Our company's mission is turning disaster into peace of mind because we're committed to easing the burden of handling your property's disaster through providing the best customer experience possible. Again, here's our suite of services. We can assist with water mitigation and restoration, mold remediation and lead abatement, fire, smoke, restoration and odor control, biohazard and trauma disinfection, sewage mitigation, and cleanup efforts. We also can assist with reconstruction efforts in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. We're licensed, insured, reliable. We're an IICRC a certified firm, EPA lead safe certified firm, IAQA smart mold firm, 5-star rated across the board. All TSR employees are infectious disease control certified, and we have 2 licensed asbestos inspectors on staff. We also belong to these wonderful community associations, PMA, CAI, and AOPA. So spring is in the air. And, we want to be here to help you prepare your property for the heavy rains and protect your property from mold and microbial growth. So first, we're going to start off on the prep. The best way to handle a disaster is to not have it. So we want to go through a few steps that, we recommend to make sure that you're keeping your property up to date with repairs and inspections so that we can probably help you prevent these things from happening down the road. We're also going to go through a few project profiles and show you exactly what happens during a mold remediation project. And again, like I said, feel free to type in any questions, comments, anything during the chat during the presentation. If I see it, I'll feel free to chime in. For everything else, feel free to use the Q&A box. We will have questions at the end. This is a little bit of a longer presentation for you guys, so hang in there. We'll get through it together. So prepping your property. There's a lot you can do to make sure that when water makes its way to the drain and not into your home. A little time spent now can help save you a big headache as the warmer weather comes in during the summer and the rains start falling. Inspect your entire property as soon as possible. Your surroundings, including your foundation and basement, decks, patios, sidewalks, and driveway. Ensure they're all able to resist water and that water can be directed away from dwellings and buildings. Inspect your downspouts and eaves. Be sure that all downspouts extend away from the structures and walls so that water drains safely and properly away from your property. Do you have a sump pump? Be sure that's functioning properly. Our pro tip is to have a backup sump pump with a battery pack that can help avoid failures from power outages. Inspect your piping system. Check your pipes, valves, and faucets for any leaks. Inspect backflow valves. These will close automatically to prevent water and sewage from overflowing into your home in the event of a backup. Inspect door and window caulking. Check for cracks that may have been caused by expanding and melting snow and ice during the winter. Make necessary repairs to prevent water migration, unwanted indoor moisture, and humidity, which can later cause microbial growth. For multifamily community maintenance, we have a few separate recommendations, in a community association or multifamily dwelling. Spring seasonal maintenance projects can definitely vary depending on the particular size and shape of your property and what amenities that you have. Some communities' spring checklists may consist of just removing winter debris from pits and planters out front. Others probably require coordination with vendors to assist with cleaning and prepping of swimming pools, tennis courts, playgrounds, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, making sure we're clearing clogged drains, maintaining roofs, awnings, and more. Creating clear pathways for water to migrate away from your property. Ensuring the correct path for water. After the last frost has passed, which it has, we're now in peak spring now. It's important to have your gutters and downspouts cleaned and repaired. Having your gutters and downspouts cleaned early in the season can help prevent damages from the spring rains. Now, how much rain does the DMV get on an average each spring? I get this question a lot, so I thought these stats were really interesting. The average slated 31-day rainfall during the spring in the DC area is actually rapidly increasing. Starting at the season at about 2.5 inches, it rarely exceeds 4.5 or falls below 0.9. And ending the season at about 3.5 inches. So you can see during the spring, we get more and more and more water, and then it slowly starts to go down as the summer months come in. This is just a nice precipitation chart, and since everybody's getting the copy of this presentation, feel free to look at this. I'm going to keep rolling through. Warm weather and humidity and rain equals the perfect conditions for mold and microbial growth. So what is microbial growth in mold? Microbial growth is a general term for harmful microorganisms, including molds, yeast, and bacteria. Molds are fungi that can be found both indoors and outdoors. No one knows just how many species of fungi exist, but estimates range from the tens of thousands to several 100,000 and more. Just like all living things, water is essential to the life of these microbes. Molds grow best in warm, damp, and humid conditions and spread and reproduce by making spores. So that, equals DC average weather in the summertime. We are warm, damp, and humid, right? Mold spores can survive harsh environmental conditions, such as dry conditions that do not support normal mold growth as well. What are some common indoor molds? Cladosporium, Penicillium, Alternaria, and Aspergillus. How does mold affect me? Well, common effects include stuffy nose, eye irritation, wheezing, skin irritations, fever, shortness of breath, and the worst case scenario is lung infection and disease. Now, a lot of these symptoms correlate with springtime allergies. So when in doubt, always make sure you're taking the necessary steps for preventative maintenance for your property, because it could be your property and not the spring allergies, or it could be the other way around. It's just good to know all of the signs and effects. When mold grows on a property's internal structure components like the studs and framing, it can eventually cause a structure to crumble. Mold will eat away at building materials like insulation, carpeting, paper backing, and it quickly breaks down into organic matter. It is very important to safely remediate and remove mold when found. However, if you suspect you have mold or microbial issues within your property, but can't physically see the signs of infestation, again, going back to those, allergenic reactions, Having air quality tests done by a professional like Tri-State can help provide you with peace of mind. Bleach versus mold. I get this question a lot as well. So mold and mildew are both fungi. While bleach is great at helping to clean up mildew-covered bathroom, it is not the best choice for assisting with your property's mold remediation. The EPA does not recommend using bleach to kill or remove mold. Bleach does not remove dead mold spores, which can become food for new spores. And bleach cannot kill mold on porous surfaces, such as textiles or wood, because mold spreads its roots deep into these surfaces. The safest bet is to physically remove it and prevent it from spreading. Our standard practice for mold and microbial testing, removal, and remediation includes air sampling and tape swab samples, containment of affected areas to limit airborne hazards in the affected areas, mold removal, again, we're removing, and HEPA cleaning. Oftentimes we will fog. Now, I will tell people fogging is not the safest bet for removal of mold, but what it does after a remediation project is it ensures that any mold spores get knocked down out of the air. So they're no longer aerosolized, because what the fogging does is it makes the mold spores heavy. So they drop out of the air and then can be cleaned and removed safely. So what we do is we can perform the necessary testing and remediate visibly affected areas. What we don't do is find the source of a mold issue that is unknown or hidden. We do, however, work with hygienists that can utilize their reporting to successfully mitigate any found mold issues. Indoor mold can cause irreversible damage to fabric, upholstery, wood, and other building materials too. So this again goes to the fact that mold likes to eat porous materials, and it digs its roots down into these porous materials, meaning it can't be cleaned. It has to be physically removed or disposed of properly. There's just a few recent project photos that shows this is a preschool where they had a broken pipe that was, not seen during the summer months. And when they came back to the school, they noticed a musty smell in the room, had a plumber come out because they saw some water spots on this wall here, open up the wall cavity and found that they had some new friends living in the wall with them. So we were able to come out and help properly remediate that so that school could get back in session. There's just a couple other examples of different work that we perform. This is actually from a local convenience store. This is their kitchen. I know you can't see the above part of it, but this was the kitchen, the wash bowl where they actually washed all the dishes, and they had some microbial growth on the floor that actually extended to this wall cavity here. They found out they had a broken pipe they were unaware of. So here's our first project profile. This is the mold remediation of a residential kitchen. This customer had a pipe break in the wall right around here, behind her kitchen cabinets, and it was unknown for quite some time until she had a regular inspection done by her plumber. She noticed her water pressure was a little off. Those are all telltale signs. We were called in due to the moisture present inside of her kitchen cabinets, as well as some suspect microbial growth under the sink. So it was just this general area. As you'll see in the next few images, this issue was unfortunately very widespread, as the mold found a perfect food source of drywall, insulation, and subflooring, and had made a not so happy home in this kitchen. So once we did the removal of the affected cabinets, we noticed that the wall behind the cabinets was severely saturated. This is all very saturated. And then this is all mold growth. So what do we do when we find mold? We must remove it. So this photo here shows the removal of all the affected areas after the cleaning has been done. Our equipment is in here to help dry everything out and circulate the air and also promote good air quality. You'll notice there's some plastic here. We actually set up containments for all of the exterior access ways for this part of the property. So the kitchen was completely contained, and the rest of the home was safe to reside in during this process. They weren't able to use their kitchen though. That is the one unfortunate thing. And this is what the property looked like after all of that was said and done. Our reconstruction team came in and restored this beautiful kitchen back to its former glory. We were able to do cabinet matching. Countertop is very, very similar, granite, and the flooring as well. So everything ended up getting replaced and put back, just like nothing had ever happened. Here is another project. This is a multifamily mid-rise complex in Northern Virginia. Unit 203 was directly above a trash compactor room and had a leak from the toilet or the shower, causing major microbial growth on the ceiling in the trash compactor room. We were able to set up containment, dehumidifiers, and air scrubbers to help prevent cross-contamination while we were working on the mold remediation in the trash compactor room. So this is the actual unit. This is the trash compactor room. And then, so you can see we put up a containment here while we were going through the remediation process. This is what it looked like underneath that. So this entire ceiling was completely enveloped with the mold. And then here's our last project profile we're going to go through. This was the remediation of mold in a basement office and rec room of this customer's property. They had signs of visible microbial growth behind the wallpaper in the basement office. While the source of the mold and previous water intrusion was unknown, we were able to properly remediate this space, leaving her with a livable environment while she worked to repair her foundation. For this project, we had an industrial hygienist come out to assess and inspect the property, providing us with a roadmap for remediation. Now, these clients actually did have some health concerns, so we went above and beyond as far as the remediation process goes to make sure that there were no other areas in her home that the mold spores had gotten into and affected. We actually did a very thorough kind of white glove cleaning of the entire space right adjacent to the affected areas. So this is what it looked like during our inspection. It was behind this wallpaper here and then the adjoining wall. This is one of our lead technicians going ahead and opening up that wall. This is what it looked like behind the wallpaper here. You can also see they had some other environmental hazard concerns. There's unfortunately some mouse poop here and some other things, but you can see there was definitely some kind of a water intrusion through this exterior wall. Now, we're not source finders, but we can, definitely let somebody know we think this is where it's coming from, and then have another, certified expert come in and actually verify, because we are not foundation repair experts. Once this drywall and wallpaper was removed, you can see the insulation here has been severely affected. All of this grain and dark spots, this is actually all mold eating the insulation. It's delicious food for them. Here is a good before and after of the same area. Before, you can see the wallpaper pulling up. There's some microbial growth, these carpets. And then this is after the wire brushing of the studs and the full cleaning. Everything has been removed successfully and there's no further risk of intrusion. Here it is, the final clean before we do our HEPA cleaning. And then on this side, this is the after the entire cleaning. We also have encapsulant that was painted on the walls. That's what this white paint is. The encapsulant provides a long-lasting effective barrier to prevent future microbial issues. So this is interesting, and I wanted to flag this because this room didn't have any exterior windows or doors that we could use to actually safely, duct the air that was, so the air is being pushed into this unit here to get cleaned. This is a HEPA filtration unit. And then those spores are actually getting put into this trash can here. This is called a baffle. It's a special technique when there isn't any kind of an exterior window or way for us to duct this out to the outdoors. The baffle changes the course of the airflow and redirects it, in this case, into a trash bin with special chemicals and water added to trap the mold spores so that they cannot become re-aerosolized. To the right, you'll see one of our team members HEPA vacuuming with a wire brush. This is just to make sure that we are removing all the spores effectively. Now here's a live work environment of another multi-room mold remediation project. This is actually showing negative air containments in place where there were 7 air scrubbers, 3 dehumidifiers, all set up under negative air pressure inside of a large containment. And this just helps to facilitate the air quality improvements while we're going through the remediation process. You can see, as I was explaining, this is the HEPA filtration units. Actually, this one is being sucked out of the window. And this is post cleaning. We've already successfully finished cleaning and removing all of the mold. This right here, this process is done afterwards to improve air quality within the property. We can see these studs are very nice and clean. The before images of this, everything was black. And then there's the ceiling pattern. So this is that exact same containment, but on the other side where they actually had the windows. And you can see here, do you see this dip? So this curve here means that this actual room, this containment, is under negative air pressure. The air is being sucked inwards to make sure that no bad air is getting out into the livable area of the residence while we are completing the necessary remediation efforts. Mold testing. So we offer 2 tiers of mold testing. Mold estimate tier 1. It includes an on-site inspection, use of PPE, a moisture assessment with our hygrometer protimeter, a FLIR infrared camera inspection. If there's wall cavities that we can't get into without being invasive, we will bring our borescope out. That way we can get some good images of a wall cavity or ceiling cavity. And then we provide a written estimate with remediation recommendations. Tier 2 includes all of the same things as tier 1, but also air sampling. So in this instance, maybe you don't see visible signs of microbial growth, but you're having terrible allergenic reactions and it's only inside of your property. That is a telltale sign that something's going on with the air quality, whether it's mold and microbial growth or VOCs or some other kind of airborne hazard. The air sampling will pick that up once we send it to the lab. You get a whole comprehensive report detailing all of the spore site counts and anything that they were able to pick up within that air sample. Indoor air pollution and your health. So what is an indoor air quality specialist? An indoor quality specialist like Tri-State have unique training to diagnose, consult, and remedy common indoor air quality issues. Mold and microbial growth is an indoor air quality issue because those spores become aerosolized and it does affect your health in a hazardous way. We're a member of the IAQA, the Indoor Air Quality Association. Our employees are all trained to understand the fundamentals of airborne and particulate toxins and infectious agents, how it affects the indoor air quality of your property and your health. So the immediate effects, and we already went through some of these, some health effects may show up shortly after a single exposure or repeated exposures to a pollutant. These include irritation in the eyes, nose, throat, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. Long-term effects include respiratory disease, heart disease, and cancer, and can be severely debilitating or fatal, unfortunately. So it is prudent to try to improve the indoor air quality in your property, even if symptoms are not as noticeable at first, because it could get worse. There's just a neat chart that shows the different danger levels and health effects. Bacterial viral, this is danger level 2. So mold is on a danger level 2 as far as infectious agents in your property. Health effects, again, sinusitis, upper respiratory infections, throat and ear infections, bronchitis, pneumonia. You can even have viral infections as a result. And then bacterial infections like streptococcus, and tuberculosis and so on. So there are serious health effects that can come into play if mold is not taken care of properly. Air quality testing, we mentioned this as part of our mold inspection process, but you can actually check your air quality on your own as well. So I'm going to show you a couple things in the next slide. You can purchase an indoor air quality monitor. You can call Tri-State to perform air sampling for laboratory results. You can install carbon monoxide detectors, conduct a radon test, and inspect your property for volatile organic compounds or VOCs, lead and asbestos. All of these different factors come into play when you're having poor air quality issues. So this is a little air quality index. The AQI works like a thermometer that runs from 0 to 500 degrees. However, instead of showing changes in the temperature, the AQI is a way of showing changes in the amount of pollution in the air. So it has just kind of a nice color-coded chart here. Green is good, yellow, moderate levels of air quality issues, all the way up to purple and maroon, where there are severe issues, and a full face respirator is highly recommended. Indoor air quality meters. This one right here, you can find on Amazon. This is just a nice little portable thing that you can keep in your home. It shows you the temperature, the humidity, the relative air quality, and it breaks everything down for you. It also tells you carbon dioxide concentrations and the dew point. An air quality monitor is a device that tracks temperature, humidity, particulate matter, PM 2.5 and 10, formaldehyde in your occupied space. So these are two very good, useful portable tools that you can get. They're readily available. Like I said, I found both of these on Amazon. They're in stock. If you're interested, this is a great resource as a first step to double check that those allergenic reactions you're having when you're in your property aren't actually the result of something worse. Air sampling, we mentioned this earlier. This is actually what it looks like. This is a little pump. The air gets sucked in this way. This right here is a cartridge that traps the air. And this is what gets sent out to the laboratory for testing. These cartridges here actually pick up fibrous particles in the air and are used for airborne asbestos testing. Now, we have some time for questions. If anybody wants me to elaborate on anything, more than happy to do so. Please feel free to share your questions either in the chat or the Q&A box. There are no questions today. Right. Well, if anybody thinks of anything as I'm going through, I don't want to prevent people from getting to the grand prize part of the presentation. So I know, Sheila, right? Everybody's so quiet today. It must be because it's a Tuesday and we normally do this on a Wednesday. Hump day might be better for brain stimulation. Not quite sure. Thanks, Candy. So in closing, if you suspect you have a property hazard or require assistance or just need a consultation, feel free to give us a call. We're available 24/7 to assist with your disaster. And without further ado, I'm going to pick one lucky winner here at random for our grand prize today, $50 Starbucks gift card. And let's see here. I'm counting. Miss Tori Haslip. Congratulations. Hold on, let me write. Congratulations. Let's get some confetti action going on here for you. There we go. Make it official. Congratulations, my dear. So I will get this gift card out to you. It'll be a digital gift card. We'll connect offline after the presentation. Oh yeah, so needed. Is that why everybody's lacking on the questions today? We all need more coffee. Now, for the fun part, Chat me one thing you learned today in this presentation. The first 10 responses will get a $5 Starbucks gift card emailed out to them. The importance of safely removing mold from your home and the effects of molds. Yep. Air monitoring is important. Yeah. While inspecting your property for potential vulnerability for water flow leaks, checking the eaves, downspouts. Yes, definitely, Paul. Use an environmental hygienist to test and create a plan for mold. Yep, exactly, Michelle. And environmental hygienists are amazing at what they do. They basically put together a game plan. You know, our guys are so highly trained in this. And they do a fantastic job. But when somebody is having legit mold, symptomatic things happening to them in their property, but they can't see anything. That's when an industrial hygienist is shining, because they can come in, they do a full thorough evaluation of the entire property, and they're able to put together that roadmap to success to make sure your property is getting back to the way it needed to be. Yep, mold can cause structures to crumble. Yes, so the structure of your property is the most delicious food source, and you know we actually have unfortunately seen some water damage issues go unresolved for years. You know, 2 to 3 years down the road, having a water intrusion that's unresolved could result in like floor collapse, wall collapse, all kinds of issues. Nice, Paul. Good job. I'm glad you got your coffee. Awesome. So just a friendly reminder, here's how to reach out to us. Again, like I said, we want to be your partner, whether or not you have a current ongoing disaster or not. If you have questions, concerns, want a consultation, want to learn a little bit more about how our processes work, give us a call or reach out to me. More than happy to help walk you through our processes and educate you on keeping your property happy and healthy. And most important of all, I do need your help. So I would like to know what you'd like us to feature for the rest of 2024. Please complete the post-event survey. Let me know if you have any topics lingering. Maybe, you know, you work in a community and you have a very, you know, unique circumstance and you'd like for us to kind of call attention to that process. Or maybe it's just general safety information that you're looking for on how to maintain things effectively and efficiently. You know, let me know, and I'm more than happy to put together a presentation that is geared towards what you're looking for. Thank you guys. So without further ado, I will give you back the rest of your morning. I do appreciate you spending this half an hour with me. I hope you all learned a lot. And fingers crossed, I hope nothing in your future looks like this, but we are here if you need us. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you May 29th. Have a wonderful rest of your day and good luck tomorrow welcoming in May. Thank you guys. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.